everyone, welcome to Let's Get Growing. It's Jo here, the educational gardener from Bulwell Forest Garden in Nottingham. And we are in August, we're at the start of August and summer's here and it's hot. And it's been quite dry here, though it's been very localised thunderstorms. So we had a lot of rain at my house last night, a few miles down the road, but here we haven't had any. But the sunflowers are loving it. So let's get on, let's get cracking, let's get busy with today's pack. Okay, so this week's pack, so I'm going to start with the seeds. So we've got a packet of Sweet William seeds. Now, I could have given you a few little plug plants of these, but to be honest, I thought I'd give you some seeds because these are ones that we've just harvested ourselves from our plants, and we sowed some and they just come up within just a few days, and it's quite exciting sort of. So I thought I'd give you some seeds. So I'm going to do them in a mushroom punnet with holes in the bottom. And I've got my peat-free compost. And the container up. And I'm just going to broadcast these seeds. Oops, let me get in here. If I can find them. Oh. Not many. They're tiny. So I'm just, only because they're tiny, I'm just going to cover them up with just a little tiny bit of compost. Press them down and then I'd water them with a fine rose and put a label in. So dead easy. That's the Sweet Williams. The other thing you've got is a mint plant. So it's a little mint plant. Don't know what kind of mint it is. I think it might be spearmint. It smells like it. Just going to have an examination, and that's filled its pot. And these are some that one of our volunteers propagated, and they're doing really nicely. But it grows very quick, does mint. It's got quite an extensive root system. So what I'm going to do is, rather than just faff about putting it into the next size up pot, it's going into its final destination, and I'm not putting it in the ground because it runs riot. So I've got a nice big pot, and there's some of our homemade compost in there. The mint will like that. I'm going to tip it, tease it out a little bit. It's going to go in the middle of there. I think I'm going to have to move this to get at the compost. So I'm going to top it up with some peat-free compost just to keep the weeds in the compost at bay, in the homegrown compost at bay. And I know it's a massive pot, but it'll soon get growing. So the other thing I'm going to do is just pinch out the tips of these, which is good to do with all perennials really, because you get them to bunch out. So it looks like it's got quite a nice sort of bunch in itself naturally, is that. So that's the mint. And then finally, you've got an Echium plant. So this is Echium vulgar, commonly known as Viper's Bugloss. So it's a annual ornamental, and it's a fantastic wildlife plant. So bees love it, and it has these lovely pinky blue flowers, which will probably happen quite soon. So what I've decided to do with this one is to put it into a big pot. So this was last time's pot, which had the broad beans in, and I decided to put the lettuce in. Now let's have a look. We already had an honesty, and I put lots of lettuce in here, and there's only one left. And we can see here there's like slug trails, and this has been eaten, so the slugs have had it. And when I put my hands under the rim of the pot here, there was about 20 snails under there hiding. So that's the culprit. And there's a slug there, I think. Oh no, but there probably is under the bottom of the pot. So rather than waste the compost, I've got two actually alive, I've decided I'm going to put my Echium in here. And I've also got, these are campions from previous pots, which I potted up, but they were in the polytunnel and it's just way too hot for them. They're a wild plant, and if you see what's happened to the leaves here, they don't like that heat in there, poor babies. So I'm going to take those leaves off, and they'll be better off. And then I'm going to put them in the pot with the Echium, with the lettuce, with the honesty, and I'm going to have a big pot full of things. So that's what I do with these. And then, so that's this week's pack. So the Echium, you could actually put it straight into the ground, or you could put it in a pot. You could put it in a pot on its own if you wanted. So next job, what we're going to look at is our potatoes. Now, I'm not holding out massive hope that there's loads and loads of potatoes here. It's not been a great year for potatoes. These are the Charlottes. I'm going in with low expectations in the hope that I'll be pleasantly surprised. So it's a big pot. Oop. Oh, well, got a few. Oh, that's so nice. Look at that. That's perfect. See you, Frank. Is there more? What I could do with doing is tipping it into here. If I'm strong enough. Oh, more. Very exciting. There's more deep. They've gone deeper. That's probably because they've been quite dry in here. They go deep. Oop, there's a few there. They're not so big. So I think it was Elaine who sent us a picture of her potatoes on Facebook. So thanks for that, Elaine. And I think it looks like she had a similar amount to me, to be honest. But it has, in general, been quite a disappointing year for potatoes because of the cool, wet spring, I think. Right, I think that's all of them. Not bad. It's a pot full. It's a boiling. So what I'm going to do with my potato compost and this big pot is, rather than waste it, because I think there's still some goodness in it, is I think I'm going to put my kale plant that from last time's pack that I potted up. It's been a little bit eaten, but if we look at it, it's totally filled its pot. So that one would go, it's going to go in the middle of here. And I might actually put some of the parsley that we grew around the edges of it, around here, to fill the pot up. So that's today's pack. And so just to end with a little tip, and we were talking about watering, so a really good thing to do if you've got lots of pot plants when it's this dry, and not a prime example, but this is our chive plants, which has done quite nicely, but I sit them all in little trays and try and get all the plants when it's this dry into trays, so that when you water, the water that's like a receptacle for any water that's gone through the plants, and also it can sit in that water, and it just sort of maximises your watering, the efficiency of your watering. So yeah, that's it. So happy growing. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time.